Each season of The White Lotus has seen a number of filthy rich guests check into the titular resort with their literal and metaphorical baggage dragged alongside them. While the show does focus on the psychological landscape of each individual, it also delves into the relationships between the guests, from family members to friends to couples. The couples that are part of the main cast in the series are generally in heteronormative relationships, which are dissected through creator Mike White's intoxicating narratives. While the couples have given us meaty conflicts to bite into during the show, like socioeconomic differences, illicit affairs, or one-sided affection, there is still one kind of couple I am begging to see. The 3 seasons have had a number of queer characters, each playing a pivotal part in the story, whether that be one of the many corpses that pervade this hotel chain or as part of a money-hungry conspiracy that we still scratch our heads about. But despite the presence of queerness in the show, genuine queer relationships are actually sidelined. The show has veered close to properly delving into queer relationships and has shown potential for compelling arcs, but still hasn't really taken that crucial step. Though it certainly hasn't taken away from the quality of these 3 seasons, it still feels like a missed opportunity. Please, White, give me at least one proper queer couple in Season 4. Queer relationships haven't been properly explored in The White Lotus. So far, the queer relationships, in the loosest sense of the word, we have seen in The White Lotus haven't necessarily been genuine ones that pave the way to a wealth of dark commentary as the heterosexual ones do. In fact, the show tends to focus more on queer identity and its manifestations of the psyche rather than the actual relationship between 2 people in a queer couple. If we look at the latter, they end up being either inconsequential or predatory. In Season 1, we had Armand Murray Bartlett, the head of staff in the hotel, who bribed his staff member to have sex with him using drugs and promised shifts, which ended up simply being part of his self-destructive spiral. In Season 2, we had a deal between Quentin, Tom Hollander, and Jack, Leo Woodall, who paraded around as uncle and nephew when, in reality, Jack was able to tag along Quentin's wealthy lifestyle in exchange for sex. This relationship was less about its queerness and instead contributed to the season's commentary on sex and power dynamics. Season 2 also had another minor queer scene where Valentina, Sabrina Impacciator, had an unrequited crush on her staff member, but this didn't end up panning out to anything meaningful. Play video. More recently, in Season 3, we had 2 brothers that participated in a non-consensual threesome together after taking drugs, but that was also a twisted extension of Lachlan's, Sam Nivola, self-image and insecurities rather than something more inherently sexual. Although it was the first time the main hotel guest cast included a queer sex scene, the surrounding implications were more psychological and familial. It feels like each season is taking one tentative step closer to having a queer couple that doesn't have that weird narrative baggage attached and is genuinely a couple in its central cast, and I need Season 4 to take that leap. A queer couple checking into The White Lotus would give the HBO series a fresh dynamic. The White Lotus has explored a wide range of different relationships, including romantic, familial, platonic, and working ones. Within each relationship, the series has found so many fascinating strings to tug at, wringing out the dark nuances and serving them up on a golden platter. For romantic couples in particular, we've gotten a working woman, Rachel Alexandra Daddario, who tries to assimilate into the wealthy world of the family she married into while navigating the shallow preoccupations of her husband, Shane Jake Lacey, which ended in the tantalizing decision of giving up her previous values to save her marriage. In Season 2, Daphne, Megan Fahey, and Cameron, Theo James, make an intriguing couple where the former turns a blind eye to her significant other's indiscretions for the sake of her marriage and lifestyle. Season 3 gave us the sunshine-grumpy dynamics of Chelsea, Amy Lou Wood, and Rick, Walton Goggins, which were pervaded by Rick's thirst for revenge and Chelsea's inexplicable need to fix him, ultimately ending in tragedy. Each of these major relationship conflicts in the 3 seasons aren't necessarily restricted to just heteronormative relationships. While gender and sexual identity certainly play a role and add to the complexity of the subtext, queer couples would certainly face issues like this as well, just with different gender implications. Adding in a queer couple would only enhance the show's already compelling repertoire of relationships, as the layer of queerness has its own dynamics, implications, and darkness to play with. Whether that be engaging with the social ramifications of their relationship in the setting of the rich hotel or playing on uniquely queer character traits, delving into queerness in the context of a committed relationship just seems like the next natural step into uncharted territory for the show. Steve Zahn's storyline in The White Lotus Season 1 featured a compelling identity crisis. As mentioned previously in The White Lotus, queer interactions are mainly used as a window into a character's psychology or as a vehicle for the season's larger narrative. But there is a storyline in Season 1 where the show meaningfully discusses sexuality, even though there is no relationship in sight, nor the actual queer character in question. The patriarch of the Mossbacher family, Mark, Steve Zahn, has a visceral identity crisis when he finds out his late father was gay. Though the story doesn't necessarily go into the queer experience directly, telling a classic tale of being closeted due to the traditional expectations of masculinity. From the perspective of a son is intriguing. The White Lotus handled the content sensitively and with the sharp, irreverent wit that made it one of the more compelling character arcs in the season. Even though Mark's story doesn't physically have a queer relationship in it, the way the show dug into the topic proves its potential to deliver a good queer storyline. If anything, adding in queerness might be just the thing the show needs to shake up its formula at this point. I need that fresh haul of amoral yet enticing personalities to feast shamelessly on.